How's it? This week I'm really amped. This show's gonna be dunzo, gnaralacious. I'm gonna start by jazzing some glass. I know I look like a cavefish, but I ain't no Barney. I'm a ride too high. As if, when I get finished carving these nugs, I'm gonna do some boglious fishing. The Outerbanks, where I'm hanging right now, it's not just great for pig dogging, it's a great place to do some gnarback surf fishing. Maybe the best place in the whole globe, dude. So don't be a bro dad. Stay right where you are. Surf fishing the North Carolina Outer Banks is coming right up. A call! Yeah. I heard about the Outerbanks Fishing School and that they were offering a surf fishing class. I knew I had to be there, so I emailed Mark Peters and he invited me to join the class. And a couple of weeks later, I was there. In the classroom session, he went over everything you need to know about the types of rods and reels, how to rig for those big fall red drums, the types of hooks and sinkers, and how to bait for those big guys. He went over how to read the water, so we would know exactly where to stop and fish. When you're four-wheeling down the beach, the water can look pretty much the same to a novice. But when you know what Jimmy knows, believe me, it's all very different. And those differences can tell you where the fish are.
And then I'm going to come show you something that I like to do when you're first learning how to cast. Some people may be beyond this, and if you are, I'll get through it pretty quick. Mike will be here in a second. We'll split off in groups. But it's a beach cast where I'll get you to lay your weight out all the way as far as it goes and stretch it out, and then just practice following through, coming through. It'll help your form instead of coming back and then quickly doing it. A lot of people, the problem people have with backlash, everything casting is about your timing. Your timing's off one little bit. Either it's not going to get out there, you're going to backlash, you're going to hook it. But when you start out on the sand, you're starting out perfect, exactly how you want your line. When you come back across to throw, you want your line to be straight all the way out. So here's Mike. So I'm going to get you to start up here and just work on coming across. And then you can start bobbing it back and coming across. And it'll kind of put it all together for you.
The first thing Jimmy showed us when we got to the beach was which bait to use and how to pack it. He stressed the importance of getting fresh bait. He told us that menhaden is only fresh in a bait shop for about a day, and that mullet, what we will be using today, is fresh for up to 3 days. Once you've purchased your bait, you can keep menhaden fresh for up to 3 days and mullet up to 10 days, but you have to pack them correctly.
Pull out some bait. These are mullets. This is about the size. I like maybe a little bit larger a lot of times. This is the corn cob size. I like using the head. What you look for, you want a firm mullet. You don't want it soft anywhere. looking at the eyes. You want clear eyes. If the eyes aren't clear, it's an old bait. Sometimes they'll kind of trick you. They'll put salt on them in the tackle shops, and you'll feel them. Oh man, it's a hard bait, nice firm bait. Well, it's been salted down. You can notice the eyes are glazed over, which is a sign of a old bait. This is the size I like. This is a little bit bigger, and that head section, cut it right off there. When you're looking at for menhaden, I see these people going down to the tackle shops, and there's menhaden that have been in there 3 or 4 days, junk, and people just pack them up and take them out there. You don't catch anything. What you do is look at their eyes first, then you want a hard, stiff bait. You don't want one that's soft in any kind of way. And then you can flip up the gills. Mullet you really can't, but on a menhaden, flip up the gills. Well, you can, and you want a dark, almost like a dark purple gills, dark red to purple gills, which means it's a fresh bait. They start getting like a lighter red and a brown color in their gills when they've been sitting for a while. I wouldn't even mess with them. When you pack them, I like to pack them, put a layer of ice on the bottom of your cooler. Always open the drain so that the water doesn't back up in there. And I rotate them. One this way, one that way. The layer, like that. Layer all the way across your cooler, a thin layer of ice, and then another layer of bait, thin layer of ice, and have them packed like that. And with the drain open so they can drain. And like I said, these mullet, I can keep them for 10 days. But if they're not iced right, packed right, 3 days, 4 days, maybe the most.
This part of the instruction is Jimmy giving us a lesson on how to throw a cast net. First, you coil up the rope, then place the rope and horn, which is the end of the net, in your left hand. Grab down with your right hand about halfway and make a loop, and then place the loop in your left hand. There should be just a little bit of the net resting on the ground when your arm is extended down. Check to make sure the bottom of the net isn't tangled, or it won't open properly when you throw it. Now gather up about 1/3 of the net with your right hand. See how Jimmy is using his fingers to bunch up the net. Now watch carefully because this next part looks pretty complicated. Take the gathered net and go under the left arm and place the net on your left shoulder. Notice how Jimmy has his left elbow out to hold the net in place. Now, go under your left arm and gather up another 1/3 of the net. It can be a little more or a little less. Then you're ready to go. Rotate to your left so that your back is to your target. Pivot at the waist and throw the net forward onto your target so that it opens completely. Just like that. Okay, now it's my turn. I start by coiling up the rope after I've attached it to my wrist. Man, this rope is longer than I thought it was. I have to take a few steps back to straighten out the net, because this is a really long net. I put both the rope and the horn in my left hand, and reach down to grab about half of the net. But I'm not as big as Jimmy, so he had to help me get about half. Alright, then I made the loop in my left hand. What do I do next? Oh yeah, I start bunching up the 1/3. Jimmy helps me untangle the bottom of the net a little bit. And then go under my arm and up on my shoulder. Oh, that is one heavy net. Those weights are heavy. Jimmy told me if I can throw this net, I can throw any net. This was a big net, so I needed a little bit of help, especially for my first time. Like with anything else though, to get good at it, you've just got to practice. Alright, now I have my second third together. Now I'm ready for the launch. And hi-ya! close. I had to cheat just a little bit. Ta-da!
But you roped it up perfect, you loaded it perfect. So it's just trying it a few times. And actually this net, I mean, even me, I mean, this is a heavy net. I mean, the lead on this net, you can throw this thing, you can throw any net.
Awesome.
Yep. She did a great job. Technique was great. Such a heavy net. That net's a little bit heavy for a smaller person, but her technique and everything was perfect. She came across, she just didn't have enough power to open up the whole net, but technique was great.
Okay. Do we have anything shorter than 13 foot?
I have that spinner. I have that 11.6 mantle glass. Maybe that can help with the form.
The spinner?
Yep.
Maybe we ought to use that one for her. And I think this might be a little too big for her.
It's like 4 times my size.
Yeah.
So about 4 feet still for me?
Probably, yeah. Probably about like that. That's probably a good place to start.
Right, hold the line and then just let it go when I
Right. Just like a regular cast, just let it go. You're just putting a little bit more power into it.
Okay.
It's a little bit different technique. So,
Reel, rod.
Okay.
here. Look here.
This is my first ever long cast from the beach. I've never even seen a fishing rod this long before. Mike instructs me to point the rod straight behind me, with the rod tip resting on the sand. I should have about 4 feet of line extending beyond the rod in a straight line. I'm supposed to stand sideways with my left shoulder facing the target. I'm trying to get my 4 feet of line extended straight beyond the rod tip. Now I'm almost ready to go. Mike helps me get my line straight and then offers some last-minute instructions.
Okay, now, did you see how I had my arms?
Yes.
Hold your right arm straight out, left arm bent at the elbow, and out in front of you.
Okay.
You can hold this. Actually,
More?
no, you hold it out by the butt of the rod.
Okay.
Get it here. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yes.
Do the eyelets go face down?
In your case, on a spinning rod, what I would do is I would
Rotate
maybe
it a little?
rotate about like that, hold the whole rod like that.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
And then when I let it
And then
go.
when you come forward, you'll have it.
Okay.
So when you start coming forward, the first thing you want to do, obviously, is turn and look.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Turn and look, and look up in the air about like that.
Okay.
Okay? Start coming forward. When you can't go any further forward with your left arm, start bringing your left arm back in around toward your chest.
Okay.
And keep your right arm as straight as you can.
Okay.
Okay? And it'll force the rod to do the work, and you will hardly have to do anything. You'll cast farther than you ever have before.
All right.
Okay?
Let's see if that's true. It felt different, not something that I had done before. So.
For your first time, it wasn't that bad.
Good, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. I need to go a little farther.
Okay, second cast. Let's see if this is going to go any farther than the first one. And ouch! Oh, the line snapped on my finger. That's going to leave a mark. All right, third time's a charm. Just look at that form. And almost let go of the rod. Goodness, this is going to take some practice. I wonder what Mark's thinking.
Oh, look, I told you, it's awesome. I think if you come over and feel like follow through with throwing a ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to follow through.
Arm it overhead.
Got it. Go. Yes. Great, you're getting distance out of it. That's really what this is all about. Wow. Wow.
Further, huh?
Okay, quick knuckles.
Yeah. so I'm gonna try a trick shot. I'm gonna try to do a Happy Gilmore shot. Let's see if I can do it.
I think I like that.
A few more steps, maybe a full running start. I went about as far as the rest of them. Need to go about 25 more yards. I think I can get over that bank. That's where they said those fish might be, so it's where I gotta be.
Okay, so set up for another one. I want to see you do another one.
Okay.
There you go. Your best cast of the day. That's
Really
a long cast.
far away.
That's a long cast, yeah. What you might try when you get to the point where you start feeling comfortable casting off the ground like this, what you might want to try is maybe just holding the sinker up in the air.
Okay, off the ground? I saw you were
off the ground.
swinging it back,
Yeah.
making it level, and then coming
Yeah, because again, even when you're swinging the sinker back, ideally you want to have a straight line between the reel and the sinker.
Correct, yeah.
So you want to swing it back fast enough that it straightens out to the rod, but you don't want to swing it so that it gets above the rod tip.
Gotcha. Okay.
If the sinker gets above the rod tip on your swing back, it's going to make slack line between the sinker and the reel. Okay.
Yeah. That was even a little too above.
Yeah.
You guys make it look so easy.
It takes a lot to get it like that too.
When the drum hits, it's going to grab water. Put my waders on. It's going to all of a sudden, your rod is just going to, they hit like a freight train. And your rod's going to rip down in the water.
Okay.
And with this circle hook, all you have to do, grab your spool and back up. And by you backing up, that line, that circle hook, you just going to slide right in the corner of his mouth. And then when it feels tight, you can start hitting it like this, which just kind of digs it in the corner. And then you can just let go of this and then start fighting.
Why do they like the heads better?
They stay on there better. The heads they bleed slowly while they're sitting out there. The blood kind of runs out of these chunks pretty quick. Bluefish will pick away all that meat real quick and you'll be left with a little piece of skin.
I'm finally at the point where I'm going to bait up and actually fish for that massive red drum. Jimmy selects the mullet he thinks is the best. Poor fish. Good thing he's already dead, 'cause I'm gonna chop his head off. He showed me exactly where to cut, and I got to work. It was a lot tougher than I thought it should be, but then I realized I was trying to saw through that fin. As soon as I slid the knife under the fin, the job got a lot easier. Most people would bait with the body portion, but we're using the head. The reason we're using the head is because it's tough, and even if other fish peck out the soft insides, we still have a really big bait. And big red drum like a really big bait.
It's such a hard hit.
Hard-headed fish.
Alrighty. Here's your hook. What you want to do, I'll let you do it.
Alright.
You want to hook it in there and have it come through
Through the nose.
Out right here.
Okay, just like you would.
But you don't want it too deep because then it'll be covering up that line of the hook and there won't be much gap exposed. So when the fish hits, it'll pull right out of his mouth. When there's a lot exposed, when you pull, it'll slide right in that corner.
Alright, so.
It's kind of tough, but it'll come through perfect. Perfect.
Like that?
Pull it through and it'll be perfect. It'll come over that barb. Just pull a little bit more. That's exactly where you want it.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
If you do it too shallow, it'll fall off from the cast. Too deep, it'll hurt you when you have light. So that's perfect.
What we're doing here for drum fishing is this rig on the terminal end. As you can see, there's a bead, there's a coastal lock with an 8-ounce weight on it, there's a barrel swivel, there's a short segment of 60-pound mono, and then we've got a snell onto our 8-aught Gamakatsu hook. Now we're going to tie this. Let's go in order. First thing we're going to put on is we're going to put on this bead.
Slide the red bead onto the main line. Slide on the coastal lock. Do not tie it, just let it slide free. Connect the barrel swivel to the main line with a clinch knot. With 60-pound test mono or fluorocarbon, snell on the 8-aught hook. Connect the barrel swivel to the hook's very short leader with a clinch knot.
And there we are. There's the final rig. As you can see, it's a fish finder.
Okay, after our classroom session and the on-the-beach instruction, I finally started fishing. This is my first cast with bait. It's the real deal. I have high hopes of catching a really big red drum. So, I put the rod in the sand spike, loosen the drag, and wait. The reason we loosen the drag is to keep the fish from feeling resistance when it picks up the bait.
I've been in one of those. Chinook 47. We were able to ride in a CH-47, and man, they go fast. And we got like really close to the ground. They can turn, and oh, it's so cool. It was intense.
Be sure to tune in next time to see if I actually catch a really big red drum. I won't spoil the surprise.